Welcome to Millionaire Mondays, part 4 of the Tom Ferry series, Listing Attractions. Today, Tom rounds off the 16 action items that we could take to make sure that we increase our stock and put listings on our books. If you're a real estate agent, you definitely want to be watching this episode. Look forward to catching you all soon on the next Millionaire Monday.
Hey, we're wrapping up our number 4 segment of 16 of the best listing attraction strategies from the Success Summit. Check it out. Hey, welcome to the Tom Ferry Show, circling back around on the last of the 16 listing attraction strategies of the 33 that we shared at this year's Success Summit. My hope, of course, is as I'm inundating you with methodologies, with proven marketing strategies, with tactics that you can implement instantaneously into your business, that you get the point. You got a list to last, that all these techniques aren't worth anything unless you go out and execute on them. And when you do, you're going to become one of the more dominant listing agents in your marketplace. And that, my friends, is going to make me feel fantastic. So if you're not going to do it for you, do it for me. Would you? Please? Come on. All right. Here we go. The next of the 16. I wrote down agent-to-agent referrals. You know, we launched at the summit this remarkable product called The Hub. It's this platform that our coaching members use to manage and grow their business. One of the phenomenons that we discovered in December of last year in some early surveys of our top clients making over $500,000 a year, check it out. The number 4 listing attraction strategy they had was agent-to-agent referrals. Yes, they're getting listings. It's the number 4 source from agent-to-agent referrals. Now you might be sitting there saying, Tom, maybe I'm not one of your coaching members. Maybe I'm, somewhere around the world and I haven't figured this one out yet. That's exactly what I want to share with you today. I wrote down a whole bunch of things for you. The first thing is, if you're in the US, you can go to census.gov, and you can actually, Google around inside there and check it out. They'll actually let you know in your city, where are people moving to and from visually on a map, and also giving you some data points around it. So what if, for example, you discovered, like my client Patrick McLaughlin from Douglas Elliman out in the Hamptons, he found out that, of course, the vast majority of people that were moving to and from the Hamptons, guess what? They were coming from Greenwich, Connecticut and New York City and, all kinds of, little suburbs outside of Manhattan. Well, naturally, this led him to say, well, first and foremost, who do I already know as agents in those areas, right? That's the first step for you. After I figure out where people are coming to and from, who do I already have inside my database? What if you created a list inside of Contactually called agent-to-agent referral opportunities, and you start to fill that bucket with agents that you meet, you guys ready? Through the Tom Ferry ecosystem, through your company and your company's affiliate partners, your relationships, as an example, if you're a part of a big conglomerate, all those other companies you're connected to. Obviously, when you're going to events, you're now getting cards, you're meeting with agents, you're being a little more intentional, not just like, hey, what's going on and let's have a drink at the bar and brainstorm a little bit, but instead like, hey, where are you from? Where are you from? I'm looking for people that are from Minnesota, that are actually from St. Paul, because they seem to be migrating the most to my area, as an example, and you're adding those people into your database. Plus, I wrote down, if you really want to do it right, people like Melissa Menard, big shout out to Melissa, who did a TomX talk for us in 2017 on the power of agent-to-agent relationships, which you can go to my YouTube page and you can watch verbatim what she does. She said, once I knew where people were moving to and moving from in my area, I would then go to conferences and events in those cities, in those towns. I would be very strategic to go network with great agents there to build up that list. No different from your database, your past clients, your sphere, old expireds, a geographic farm. Having an agent-to-agent base that you're marketing and connecting with for those referral opportunities is a smart move today. So I wrote down a couple things for you really quick. If you do this list, my advice is not just to build the list and then send them all your generic stuff that you, hey, I took another listing, handed them a sale, but instead, what could I deliver that would be valuable to that agent? Right? What can I deliver that would help these people keep me top of mind and actually help their business? So Chris Heller, big shout out to Chris, former CEO of Keller Williams, longtime friend of mine, now CEO of Mellow Homes. Chris and I were chatting about this idea, and he said, Tom, what I did is every time I went to one of your conferences, I'd list my top 10 takeaways, and then I'd send that out to the list with like the script, the marketing strategy, the data points, the cool degrees of separation that we can do to make our businesses better. He's like, I would do that for every conference I went to, and I'd send it to them. Then I'd send them information on what's going on with home prices in my area so they can talk intelligently with their potential buyers and sellers in their marketplace about what was going on in San Diego, as an example. So sharing trends, sharing what's going on to help them improve their business, marketing tactics, scripts, ideas, etc. for agents, from you as an agent with some love. But then I also wrote down, what if once a month or once a quarter, depending upon how aggressive you get with this, that you actually published an email to all those people saying, I want to give a big shout out to Minley and to Ginger and to all the people in your world that sent you a referral, right? You do that little shout out and it goes out to them. That's a great idea because recognition, top of mind, and once again, you become the agent in that marketplace that people should refer to. You know who I just got that from? Ryan Serhant. Right? He just did that recently, and I sent him a little note and said, Ryan, that was a great idea, because he got a ton of referrals from agents, and he was recognizing him for it. I think it was like for all of 2017. So that's the very first point. Bigger idea, right? Going to have you do some research, census.gov, who's already inside your database, kind of figuring out who are those players in the market. It's not about having 500 agents. It's about having the right 15 or 20 or 30 that you can really, create a connection with, that you can deliver each other value and, do referrals back and forth. That, my friends, is an excellent next pillar to your business. All right, let's go to the next one. I love this one. This got a lot of buzz at the summit, and I think it's because so many of us today are recognizing not only the addressable market that I'm about to discuss, but also the need for the right agent, you, to really go in and take the time and deliver and serve at the highest level to help these people make a good decision. Here's the strategy. Ready? Working with seniors. Specifically, the point that I shared at the summit was you should be doing events. You should be doing small seminars for seniors. Maybe you call it big to small house downsizing strategies. Big to small house downsizing strategies. Now remember, back at tomferry.com, you're going to see sample ads and things that I would recommend on Facebook. Yes, because they're all there and you can target them very easily and at low cost on Facebook. So here's some stats you want to consider. You ready? From the age 61 to 70, that represents today 21% of all sellers in the US. People that are 61 years old to 70 years old. It's 21% of all sellers in the US. 32 million of the 126 million homes in the US are owned today by baby boomers. I don't know, it's 24-ish%. Like, it's a significant number of properties. Now, you might ask, why do I bring that up? NAR published something recently where they said 55% of sellers use the same agent to buy and sell. But as age increases, the percentage drops dramatically. Now, that probably means the agent's out of the business, or they moved on, or, rest in peace, who knows? But what it does tell you is there is a tremendous opportunity if you have the empathy, if you have the patience to sit down with someone. I think of like my in-laws who are in their 90s, right? If they're thinking about selling their house, you're probably not going to walk in and go, hey, let me talk about getting your home sold, right? Like, first of all, they both have hearing aids and you're like, huh? Right? Like, you're going to have to lean in, slow down, and treat them like you treat your own grandparents or your parents. Now, that either really resonates for you in your heart or it doesn't. I'm fine with it either way. I just know that this is a huge opportunity for you to really go out and make a difference and an impact, and do it in a way that isn't maybe the most traditional method of prospecting, marketing, lead generation. So here's what I recommend. You ready? You get a list of all the seniors in your marketplace. The company Remind, they may not be in your area yet, but check it out, R-E-M-I-N-E, remind.com. This actually it's kind of the MLS 2.0 is how I would describe it, maybe even 3.0 because it's that slick. You could actually go in and say, give me every person that owns a home for more than 20 years that has no mortgage, 30 years, 40 years, that has no mortgage. And in whatever geography you want to look at, boom, it shows you all the houses, all the addresses, and then you can print and mail to them. It's really cool. Otherwise, you got to sit down and go with your tax records or go to your title rep and say, I need a list of people with no mortgage. I need a list of people that have owned their home for 30 or 40 years. And you want to then get that list, put it inside Contactually, and market to them. Market to them by sending them an invitation to come do a 40-minute seminar where you're going to serve wine and cheese or whatever you choose, right? Make it enticing, make it, worthwhile for them. And if you get 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 15 of them, when they show up, what do? You educate them on what are the things they have to do. What are the 4 mistakes that people make when they've been living in their home for 20 years and now it's time to sell, right? These things will just roll off your tongue. These are the things that, if your mom or your aunt called you and said, I'm thinking about selling my house, what do I need to do? You'd be like, look, the first thing is you gotta kind of get all the personal stuff out, gotta organize your house and make it look like a brand new home. All those same things you would give as an expert in your opinion and your advice, you would deliver in a 30 or 40-minute seminar. Maybe you bring in a CPA, maybe you bring in a tax strategist, maybe you bring in someone that talks about wills and trusts to educate and inform them. This isn't a call and expired, get an appointment, bang, get a listing. This is nurture, educate, take the time, answer their questions, follow up with personal phone calls and a handwritten note, and you're gonna get a bunch of listings. I think you get the gist. Go back to tomferry.com because all the details, the Facebook ads and everything else I'm recommending, it's all there. The bottom line is this is just another way for you to become a piece of the fabric of your community, helping a segment of the market that continues to grow and, in my opinion, is dramatically underserved. Let's go to the next one, number 3. Online seller leads, AKA sellers in disguise. So when I talked about this at the summit, and I'm a huge advocate of arbitrage, online lead generation, Zillow, Trulia, right on down the line, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., conversion, all of it, Google, pay-per-click, Facebook. I love it all because, it just covers the gamut of top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and right now ready to go. The thing that shocks me though is that so many agents miss the opportunity. So let me give you the stats. You buy 10 Zillow leads as an example. Here's what we know. 33% of them today are first-time home buyers. They have nothing to sell, right? Their credit is 11. They're trying to figure it out. What do I need to do, right? 2% of them are going to be investors on average based upon the data, and 65% of them have a home to sell potentially before they buy the next one. So what is the most important question as an online lead is coming in? Once I engage them, hey, you guys are interested in 1234 Banana Street, love to show it to you, why don't we schedule an appointment? By the way, do you guys have to sell a home before you buy the next one? Do you guys have to sell a home before you buy the next one? Do you have a plan B in case that doesn't work out? Help me understand, that number, 65% of the online leads you're buying need to sell a house in order to buy the first one. Now, you might say, Tom, wait a minute, my average sales price is on the super low end. Well, if you're only focusing on the super low end price range, you're probably only focusing or attracting first-time buyers and investors. I'm talking about national numbers, right? Across the world, 65% need to sell a house before they buy the next one. Are you paying attention to that? Now, speaking of, I got some more stats I want to share with you. My friends over at Agentology have been giving me these reports where they basically expose us to the hundreds of thousands of inbound and outbound lead generation they're handling for agents. That's what they do. They become a virtual ISA network of people calling and confirming and booking appointments on your behalf. Listen to these numbers, right? 37% of all the online leads come in overnight between 8 o'clock p.m. and 8 a.m. 37%. I think about Gary Gold, who is a longtime client. Big shout out to Gary if he's watching. Heart it up for this guy, he's amazing. Gary works at Hilton Highland, very successful broker, 30 years in the business, early adopter on a lot of technology, huge advocate for Zillow. He says to me one time, Tom, I'm laying there in bed and all of a sudden my phone goes ding, and it's 12 o'clock in the morning, my wife's asleep. What is it? I just happen to be awake because realtors don't sleep. And he looks over and it's a Zillow lead. And what does he do? He calls. And guess who answers the phone? Russell Peters. Do you know Russell Peters, the comedian? One of the funniest guys on the planet. Russell's in London, right? And he's looking at houses on Zillow. Bang, wants to see the property. Hey, this is Gary. How can I help you? You were just looking at a property at, Banana Street in Beverly Hills, right? He ends up selling that guy a multi-million-dollar property. Now, Zillow, myself, Realtor.com, everybody else is saying the same thing. We don't want you talking to leads at midnight, right? But it's also acknowledging and recognizing that that's one of the things that are happening. Let me give you a few more stats. You ready? You're all thinking now, I need to answer the phone at midnight. They're not all like Russell Peters. All right, 51% of all leads came in after 5 p.m. 51% of all leads came in after 5 p.m. before 8 a.m. 26% of all leads came in between midnight and 8 a.m., right? Highest lead flow hours were between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. The highest lead flow hours were between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. Of course, we all know, all the studies say, when do you want to do your optimal hours of power? 9 to 11, 4 to 6, 9 to 11, 4 to 6. But the most interesting part was Thursdays and Sundays were the busiest online lead days. Now, as you think about this, I'm giving you this not just because I want you to get more listings, but I want you to make sure you're aligning your schedule and your behaviors and your assets to make sure that if you're in the online lead generation game, you're paying attention to lead flow optimization. Hope those stats helped. We should link up the report, guys, that I'm talking about right here from Agenology. Let's just make that something on tomferry.com. All right, the last one. Kind of, old school, older, mature school with senior events. And now, of course, talking online leads. Let me run one that I think is totally underserved, and the agents that are doing it will tell you the test is absolutely worthwhile. You ready for this? Running radio ads. Now, some of you are like, whoa, Ferry, you're talking Insta strategy, polling, you're talking direct mail, now you're talking radio. Hey, I'm the guy that says there's no wrong way to attract a client. Know yourself, know your market, look where everybody else isn't going, go there, do the opposite, right? Like, it just makes sense. Radio, here's what I wrote down. Dependent upon your market, could be $200 to $1,000 a week, again, dependent upon your city. If you're in New York City, probably more like $1,000. If you're in Omaha, Nebraska, maybe it's $200, right? So my advice is you create a 15 to 30 second commercial for maybe a handsome guy like this. Get over here, man. This is Tristan. Go ahead and play his radio commercial. Go.
Selling your home in 2018? Looking for the highest sales price and fast, efficient service? Contact Tom Ferry from Banana Real Estate at 949-212-5000. That's Tom Ferry at 949-212-5000. With over 60 5-star reviews, sell your home with Tom Ferry at 949-212-5000.
Now, if you don't have the smooth jazz chops that this guy has, my advice is maybe you find someone, maybe it's in your voice, maybe you hire somebody professionally to do it. But the bottom line is this, radio is an opportunity, and if nobody else is doing it, and you're already a rock star, and you're doing all these things that we're discussing, then stepping up your game and doing something that nobody else is doing is another way for you to attract even more listings. All right, so Tristan, thank you so much. By the way, he's one of our kick-ass videographers. So that's it. That wraps up our 16 of 33 of many of our best listing attraction strategies for you. You can see that my energy is a little bit different from the last couple shows. I'm super focused right now on making sure that you implement. So what I want to see here in the comments on tomferry.com and on my YouTube is what is the action you're going to take? What are the 1 or 2 things you're going to do between now and the end of the year to make sure that you're getting the right number of listings to have your business be by design? Thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to see your comments. See you next week. Hey, I'm Tom Ferry, and I want to say welcome to real estate. Now, there's a pretty good chance no one's told you there's an 87% failure rate every 5 years in this business, and there's only 2 factors. Agents don't have the tools and they don't take the right action. I'm going to invite you to click the link below and get access to the tools so you can win in this business.